Stone. Hi, Stone. Hi, Stone. I love you, Stone. Martin Silverstone. Martin. David. Dave, you weren't the first guy on today, by the way. Sliding just a tad. Sliding just a tad. Give you guys a couple seconds. Little FYI before I get to our guest, Don R. November 30th, I'd like to leave a little word. This is going to live on the channel anyway, just in case anyone comes back and watches this. November 30th with Alex Despetit, the gold medal diver, the most decorated diver in Canadian history, on the Jack Black Canada Instagram account. We're going to be doing just a day honoring Movember and everything that Movember stands for. You, so you don't want to miss that. Alex is a spectacular human being with amazing stories, and of course we're going to try and raise some awareness about some great causes during this month. Okay, Martin, Vezina. It's not Turco. If you guys saw my grid, my Instagram grid, I pretty much summed up everything. I think this is going to be the pinnacle of his career. I thought originally I was going to get Alfie Turcotte on the show. I realized I couldn't actually afford him, so I'm actually going to go with Turco. With Vincent Turco, the all-time NCAA winner in nets with 127, University of Michigan, 2 national championships. He used the nets for Michigan. Everyone remembers that Mike Legg lacrosse goal. He was actually in nets for Michigan when that goal went in. We'll talk about that. 11-year amazing NHL career, almost all with Dallas, Boston Bruins, and Chicago Blackhawks to kind of wrap it up. And here's, the problem is, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but when we do watch games in the East, we watch a 7 o'clock game and then we watch a 10 o'clock game. And I remember when I was on Hockey Night, you kind of miss a lot of those games in between, those 8:30 starts, the St. Louis, the Colorado, the Nashvilles. And just to give you guys, for the Canadians or Boston or people that are watching, for those that don't know about Marty's numbers, here's a little taste of what Marty did in Dallas during those times. Franchise records. Get a drink in your hand. It's going to take a couple seconds. Most wins. Most shutouts. Most games played. Therefore, most minutes played. Most consecutive games played for a goaltender. By the way, we're going to talk about that later on. He played 24 in a row. I'm going to pick his brain on that. Why a goalie can't play 2 in a row nowadays. Most assists by a goalie. Points are sensitive for me, so I really don't want to go into scoring. Speaking of taste, Marty and his cousin, Mark Muzzin, who was obviously the brains of the company, own a brewery now called Kingsville Brewery. So I have these tonight, actually. I'm going to bring Marty on. Get a beer in hand tonight. Get any drink in hand. But if you can, the Kingsville Brews, they're not actually in Quebec just yet, but my cottage is on the way. I go through Hawkesbury, so they're in Ontario. They're going to be coming out our way soon. So get a drink in hand. Cheers to Martin Turcotte. Really excited. I didn't want to bring up points because he pretty much has more than I do. So I'm a little sensitive when it comes to that. But cheers. Hey!
Oh, what's up?
Where's the mustache gone?
We had a cool mustache filter on our Kingsville
I saw that.
Instagram. We thought that was fun for Movember, and I was in the steam shower the other day, daydreaming. I think I had it cranked to 114, so I was maybe delirious, and I just hit the mustache. I wasn't even thinking. I got to keep the stash. So
I know.
I totally screwed up on that one, man.
Yeah,
Totally
well, it was good. It took away from some of the aspects of your face, but now I see the whole thing. So I need to chug these a little quicker.
Yeah. Hey, I got a nice. I see you got the stout here since
I got
it's
the stout
season.
Oh God. Season. So
yeah.
Why? Why?
Right.
Why?
That's a great question. I just thought hockey players, we were built to drink beers, to forget about stuff, but it turns out, the aforementioned Mark Muzzin, my cousin, he's, him and his wife and her family have been around alcohol for a long time in the wine world, and he made me this beer originally.
The stout?
Yeah, he made me
By
the
the way,
stout.
For those in Quebec, we can't get it just yet. In parts of Ontario, I've been to a couple events with Marty, and these stouts are we're gonna try and chug as many as we can in an hour.
Yeah.
But I love the stout, and I'd say this one's on the list too. I just can't pronounce it. It's the Hefeweizen.
Yeah, that's close. Hefeweizen, you know,
Yeah,
comes
I
from
know.
Germany, and you got to roll with it. But you know, honestly, Stalker, it's you know, beers are to be consumed, can to be consumed socially and have fun. It's a great heritage of Canada. When you think of where I'm at right now in Texas, what people think of Canada, one of the top three things is great beer, and so we didn't want to disappoint them. So we started a brewery a bunch of years ago, and now we're just starting to get rocking in Ontario and get rocking here in Texas. So it's been fun.
So hold on, what's the process to get from brewing to, like, how long? You just said you started a while ago, but it's only coming to fruition now.
Yeah, we've been in LCBO. This beer actually itself has been in the LCBO for probably 3 years. But you know, we just weren't ready yet with marketing, and we're a production house, all that stuff that goes, you know, into a good brand and a good company. We had a lot of learning to do, but for Texas, we had to make sure things were right, and we're still probably a few months ahead of where I wanted to be. But the Stars went to the Stanley Cup final, so I'm like, no time like the present to come down here, you know. And anyway, we just, you know, we got a couple SKUs at LCBO. We're all over grocery stores all over Ontario. We're in the beer store for a couple of years now, but as far as US and Texas, we're just getting rocking.
Who's your I'll try and read some of the questions. Things pop in so quick, and I'm gonna ask you a ton as we go. Favorite place to play and why? Now, little buzz there. Favorite place to play and why?
Well, the obvious ones are like, you know, Madison Square Garden. Montreal is unbelievable. Obviously, Toronto. I'm an Ontario kid. Even though I couldn't freaking win a game for a decade, it felt like in Detroit. It was great. I went to school there. I'm named after Red Wing, actually, from Marty Pavlich is where my Marty comes from. Was my dad's favorite player. They grew up the same town. So, but off the grid, man, honestly, for us, and you mentioned West Coast earlier, just late start, especially even for Texas, our fans, you know, 9:30 is a tough one. But having a good rival in the San Jose Sharks, I don't think people realize how intelligent the hockey fans are there. I mean, there's tons of Canadians in Northern California for one, but we had such a good rivalry. The building was packed every night. They hated my ass, which I thought was probably the most fun, but a little sneaky one. I thought the Shark Tank was a real fun place to play.
Who's the best drinker you played with? Actually, hold on. Let me hold on for a second. You actually have these beers now. You can get these beers in Dallas?
You can get these beers in Dallas, yeah. We're going into 38 Tom Thumbs, which is a big grocery chain here. A buddy of mine hooked me up, and so we're about 100 places, premise, off premise, bars, restaurants, and liquor stores. Going to go into 7-Eleven in the new year, which is you know, a big get for us for a small brewery. So you can get these right here in Texas, man. Right around, probably about 8 places within a mile and a half from my house.
Best drinker you played with?
It's a good one. I've seen. I never got the likes of the super legends. Lyle Odeline, he could tilt him back, man. He had the little nub on the bottom. It just felt like he's pushing it down his throat the whole time. So Lyle the Hammer, he scared me when he said, "Sit down beside me, kid," and you know you're in for one.
It's so funny, those. We're about the same age. We walked into the NHL, when, like, I guess there was drugs in our league. I never really saw anything. I tell everyone, we chugged a ton of beer. We chugged a ton of beer. I said if there was a problem, I think guys gambled a little and some guys took sleeping pills. I said I never saw anything besides that. And those aren't even, I mean, on the scale of craziness, but man, did we like our beer. And we jumped in at a time where we were like, when a guy like Lyle Odeline says, sit down and have a beer, like I had some amazing guys that would sit down and say, we're having some beers. They don't mean some beers. They can drink 15 to 20 like that.
Yeah. Oh, well, you got to think our GM was Bob Gainey when I turned pro. You know, I didn't turn pro till I was just turning 23. Right. And, you know, it was the 98, 99 cup year. And so when I got here, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, I just left college and you guys are scaring the living daylights out of me.
Yeah.
Like this is some serious drinking going on. I mean, Hatcher, Mafachuk used to put on clinics. These guys were legends. And they logged a lot of minutes, man. These guys were dynamite. I really think us and the Devils were last two organizations to really still get after it. And I remember looking over at Morrow at one point, and I'm like, man, if we get through these first couple of years, we're going to be golden, dude. If we just survive. Because, man, you're right. I think I was oblivious to it, too, you know, going to New York or LA, or it doesn't really matter. But I wasn't privy to, you know, the drugs, or if guys were doing it, that, you know, right over my naive head. But the boozing, getting up in the morning, kind of being a part of the culture, you know, no one made you drink, but it was just, you know, it was a boozing league, and you know, 82 games, and you know, your job, my job, having a few cocktails, forgetting about it, wasn't a bad thing.
Oh,
What's that? Oh, Holly?
oh, yeah.
You know, the stories are legendary. Before we get into the stories of Brett, like, you know, you know, we signed him, you know, the summer before. And, you know, it was like Bob Gainey said, we're missing a piece. You know, Eddie was here, and Newendijk, Madonna, Zuboff on the back end. I mean, with the players some of these teams had was just astonishing. And so, you know, Holly was supposed to be a piece, but Holly was a personality that just, you know, you heard him from a mile away. He was a super smart guy. And, I mean, he came to score goals playing on the line with Yuri Letnin. I mean, I could have scored 25 goals a year playing on the line with Yuri. That puck was never in your own zone. He'd go get it. The other two guys would be gone the other way. But Holly he could shoot the puck, and for a goalie, getting on the ice every day with a guy like that, I don't even know if I want to qualify it as a dream come true, because it's kind of a nightmare. But the guy shot it so good. When I mean so good, like exactly where he was aiming, and exactly there. We did a drill one time when he was struggling. He asked me to go on the ice early. Of course I did, and it was just him and I and Rick Wilson, and he's inside the dot. He's at the bottom of the circle, getting one-timers from the corner, and just slowly started working on his aiming point, and it started getting closer to my head. And, you know, at one point, I'm like, I need a drink, you know. I turn around, I'm like, God, it's a missile coming right by my ears. And then finally one more, and I'm like, hey, Holly, that's getting pretty close. And he's just like, I haven't hit you yet, have I? I'm like, good point. Let's keep going. Good idea.
So, but for the people that don't know, like this is actually my stick. My last year in Boston. It was the old one piece, the East End. I have it. I don't know why I have it up, but it's still, you know. But anyways, we thought stiffer. You needed stiffer sticks, right? So we all had like hundreds or whatever. Hall was using like a 65 at that time, I think.
Maybe less, honestly, because, you know, his stick was short, so it said 60 custom on his Eastons, and I mean, you've seen the pictures, right? The still shots are unbelievable. He would flex that thing. He's like, why would I do the work when the stick can do the work? You guys are a bunch of idiots. He had kind of a toe curve where he'd put that puck in that little spot, and a lot of blade would cover it, and it was just like literally like a slingshot. So I'm telling you, outside the blue line of warm-ups, I'm not saying he ever scored, but you had to pay attention. And I'll tell you, it was a treat. And for me, you know, I was fast. Obviously, I wasn't a big goalie. I needed to watch the puck and find it. To watch the puck come off his stick was awesome. I knew where it was going because he was aiming, and I'd just be like, yeah, okay. And I felt like, you know, the best goalie on the planet, having to make saves on him. He scored a ton of goals on me in practice, obviously, but he got every shot off. It could be in front of him 2 feet, behind him 2 feet, in tight, out wide. And I think the manipulation of the stick, because it was so whippy that he can manipulate his body, super skilled, and got great hand coordination. But his stick, he utilized it to his advantage. And I mean, he'd walk in the locker room. You know, if he came on your team and you look at your stick and he'd be like, ha, you know, now I see why. He'd say stuff like that to the young guys all the time.
So this isn't good?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, no, you're doing good. Just don't be on the ice.
Canoeing, if I'm going canoeing, actually, one of my favorite. I have a funny story with Brett Hall is I'm a 22-year-old. Like I started like yourself. I came out of Canadian University, St. FX, and we had a Budweiser rep. He obviously didn't go to school long enough to be a Kingsville brewery rep.
That's right.
He was a Budweiser rep and did the East Coast, and he always had the New York Rangers pretty much was his team, and like he had to bring go to events. They were always bringing, I don't want people. I can't use celebrities because the celebrities wouldn't go. Gretzky wouldn't go. LaFontaine, Leach, Richter. There's like who's left. So I was this 22-year-old kid coming out of St. FX and living in a hotel, and there was always something to do. Always a bar. They always wanted Rangers at these events, and one night we just finished playing you guys, and I don't think I got a shift, but post game, he comes to see me. He's like, Stalker, we're going out, and I'm like, okay, where are we going? He's like, I got a couple guys from Dallas. Now this is my thing, playing the role that I played, which was pretty much get a shift a game and slash someone and skate for your life. I didn't like hanging out with guys on the other team. I just didn't like that was my thing because one day I'm going to have to potentially, like a goalie's fine because I'll never see you. So, or someone on the power play, that's fine too because I'll never talk to you either. But anyone on the third, fourth line or the fifth, sixth defenseman, I was always like, I love everyone, but I just didn't want to, I can't punch anyone that I like. And that was part of my role. So, this one night, he's like, I got a couple guys from Dallas. He's like, no, it's fine. It's great. And I got a band in town that I'm bringing the band and a couple guys. It's the #1 bar in New York City. I forget what it was called, but it was a Monday night. It was like the industry night. Everyone, and whatever. So I'm like, I go, and I get there. And we have a green room in New York. Before I go, I meet the band. And the band's this band called NSync. And I'm like, hey, I'm just starting out. I'm 22 and don't know anything. And this band's kind of starting out. So it's kind of, the lead singer was a guy named Chris Fitzpatrick, I think. And he had like a old gray sweater on with a Mickey Mouse on it. Justin Timberlake was obviously part of the band. Justin can drink in the green room illegally, but couldn't actually come to the bar. So the rest of the band came to the bar, or group, or whatever you want to call them. And the guys from Dallas that came were Medano and Brett. And we get down and sit down, and the guy, it was amazing. It was like a buffet of Budweiser products. And just because the guy brought us, we're all, whatever you want to have, no matter what, he was awesome. And then, and Hully was just, man, they just went like this. It was just amazing. I'm coming from college too. It was awesome. But anyways, so finally this kid, the lead singer of NSYNC, goes to the Budweiser guy. He's like, can you go get me, I forget what it was a green bottle. So I'm going to say Rolling Rock or something like that back then.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, Brett's like, no, have one of these drinks, as Brett's chugging another one. By the way, what do I have next? What should my next one be?
I'm ready to slam one too. I don't know. Which one you got? What's that one? Oh, the Hefeweizen. Dude.
Good. I want you.
Yeah, that just, you could say the Heffa. That one just won in Ontario bronze medal in its category. How about that?
Yeah.
So tell me what you smell. We'll finish the Brett Hall story. Is that crazy?
That is pretty good.
Like
do I drink
bananas.
it out of the can or do I pour it into a glass?
I like to pour it into a glass, but I'm in the marketing world, so I gotta be like always tilted back my delicious.
Yeah,
Do you like the design? Cool.
I do.
Cool
I was
design.
actually going to say that. Who came up with the labeling?
So there's a company here in Dallas.
I'm getting both worlds at the same time.
Look at you. There's a company in Dallas here that did it for me. This guy named Ben Jenkins, and he's got a bat company, and he's in business with my buddy Ian Kinsler, who just lives down the road here, a baseball player, and Jack White from the White Stripes. I'm like, how does this whole thing come together? So, a Dallas company designed our cans for us, and I've been pretty happy with them. So anyway, he asked for the green bottle.
And he gets up to go buy some, and Brett just rips this guy a new arse. In between chugging beers, and that's what we did. And I'm in awe because it's Mike Medano and Brett Hall. I'm just in awe. It's two, superstars in our world, and I'm a guy that just watched them play from the front row I had the best seats at MSG. Hey, there goes Brett Hall. Hey, there's Marty Turco making a save. Hey, there goes Gretzky. Like, I was on the bench. I didn't pay for my seats, but I watched every game. But Brett, and then he chugged another 50 beers. This kid never came back, and it was like one of my best nights ever. Anyways, I can give. You mentioned guys that you played against. We mentioned or played with in practice, Holly. But your Western Conference, I kind of got lost a little bit because East Coast gets. I mean, Colorado had Forsberg, Sakic, Detroit, Yzerman, Fedorov. That team was ridiculous. Like, your team was unbelievable, and you had to play Anaheim, Solani, Korea. But the talent in the West back then, Aginla was a superstar in Calgary. You can go on and on and on out West.
I mean, Vancouver had Naslund, Bertuzzi, Morrison. The Sharks were always good.
Sharks were always good.
Rob Blake, Ziggy Palffy was in
LA.
Hated having to play him. You had Kachuk and Roenick and Phoenix. You're like, gosh, just when does it stop? And then early on when Pronger, McGinnis were playing in St. Louis. I mean, those guys. I mean, they were winning Jennings trophies and they're winning President's Cup trophies. They just could never get over the hump. And Quenneville was their coach. And so I got, like, in 1999, you know, we had Eddie, right? So the first round we played Edmonton. And there's poor Tommy Salo at the other end. Unbelievable series. We played them 7 out of 8 years in a row in the first round of the playoffs. 7 out of 8. Crazy. So we saw a lot of Tommy Salo. The only one they won was with Cujo. And then the second round, you know, we played St. Louis. Grant Fuhr was our goalie. I'm like, this is pretty sweet for me. I got to watch this, see him on the ice. I got to go mimic him during practice, which was dynamite. I could do a really good Grant Fuhr, even though I was the wrong hand. And then played Colorado.
You try and mimic him in practice?
Oh yeah.
So the guys can shoot at him?
Yeah, flying kick saves. Come on, I got this down, you know. So I was trying to mimic Coco, and then in the conference finals, both cup runs, 99, 2000, was Patrick Waugh. I'm like, listen, guys, I can't really butterfly really well, but I could do the Patrick. I can go behind the net. I can give it away just like he does. We'll do some dump-ins. Be super cocky, and try to mimic Patrick was actually a lot of fun to do. And then the finals that year was Dominic Hasek for the Sabres.
It's and crazy, they're like, the names.
Oh man, and Eddie was awesome. He mowed them all down. They won the cup, and I was there with the boys and all that. But it's just it was a different game, man. You could stack teams, dude. In like the Detroit, St. Louis, Colorado, and Dallas, those teams, other than New York and Toronto, I think, and Philly, those are the top 7 highest payroll teams in the league.
I was in New York, so our first 2 centers were Gretzky and LaFontaine. And then we had Nedved in the 3-hole, and I was 4. So ask me how many. And our coach was John Muckler, and he didn't like the 4th line or young guys. So Gretz, by the way, congratulations to Wayne Gretzky. His son-in-law just won the Masters. Just loved it. Finally, they got a winner in the family. When the 4th line was supposed to go up, Muck would be like, finally, after an hour and a half of me sitting there, him feeling bad, it's like, Staka, get your line up. And I get like, I'm up. Like, pour some water on my arms, quickly on my face to wake myself up. And I'd go to get ready. Darren Langdon was a winger. Billy Bird played a little bit on he normally got up. He was normally on the 3rd line, but it's like our line would go to get up. And then Gretz would stand up. No one would have to say anything. Gretz would just stand up, and it'd be like, sit back down, kid. It was just like one of those. Like, I didn't get it the first few times. You're new in the league. You're all excited. Yeah. I go to jump on. And as I go to jump on, as the centerman's coming, someone else on the team was like holding me back, and they're like, "Sorry, kid, it's kind of not your."
Yeah, it's Wayno.
It's Wayno.
Wayno's the best, though, man. Like, yeah. What does he say? What does he say to DJ? He's like, "Oh, congratulations, 2 majors. Let me know when you get to 12."
Yeah. Did you see the picture of him in the jumpsuit?
Yeah, man. That's what people don't realize. I think about Wayne is like he's such a guy's guy.
He's an awesome guy.
And I think I truly believe that our sport is still as cool as it is, as humble as it's been for a long time. It feels like every generation is starting to change a little bit, but we're still as humble as we are and give back in the community. And, guys go to the grocery store, you don't even realize who they are and kind of stay out of trouble for the most part, is because the greatest player of all time was the ultimate leader. And he hung around the guys and he took care of the guys. And he knew that you can't win without being super tight and being, cocky and arrogant on one hand and confident, but also you got to have some humility to you, or this thing ain't going to fly. And I just think our game transcends it because of that guy. And you see him with the jumpsuit on with DJ. I'm like, that's awesome, man.
He's like, I have a couple pictures now, one over my shoulder of Wayne, of his jersey over here. He's like, whenever the conversation comes up, so I know Wayne for having the opportunity, luxury, dream of whatever, playing with him. But people don't understand that once you're in the room, you're in the room. Like, you're all the same thing. So like, you can take shots at each other, and it's just like what he's done for me outside of hockey, the personality that he is, the person that he is. I don't think he gets enough credit for. The argument could be made as I'm looking at a Bobby Orr picture, who's another unbelievable human being, but you can't really compare generations. It's not fair to Gordie Howe, but I can compare people, and Wayne's the best of the best. So only because I know him and I'm sensitive to him, and I absolutely love it. And I love that picture because you're right. It's like the greatest of the greatest is having some cocktails and decides to put on, the jumper suit to be like, yeah, I'll be your caddy. Oh, so good.
You scored too many goals. I was at the Masters. My buddy Dave Johnson, he takes a company group every year. I went a couple of years in a row with him, and one year I had to go shopping. It was my first year. I'm like, hey, I was going to meet somebody by the first tee. I come rolling out of the gift shop, and who do I run into? I run into Timu Solani. It's like the first person I run into. I'm like, Timu, what's up? He caddied for I think Mika Noranen the day before in the par 3. So he was there having a good time. And this is, quasi early in the morning. And we're standing there talking, and who rolls up? I'm looking at tee sheet, Dustin somewhere, the next hour, and Wayne rolls up. And Wayne stops. He's like, oh, this is hilarious, right? And people are so enthralled about being at Augusta, at the Masters, or just walking by. I'm like, oh, man, 99. Never mind the finished flash right here. And people just buzzing by. And every once in a while, people would stop because, they'd recognize Wayne or Timu. And Wayne's always super sweet. He's like, oh, the finished flash, right? This is Turco. He said to somebody, he goes, and, he starts getting on a roll. He's like, yeah, the Turco is a, goalie for the Dallas Stars. He's like, I used to score him all the time. And I was like, no, dude, you never scored on me once because we never played against each other in an actual game. I'm sure you would have, but the fact is you didn't. And I didn't say anything. I was like, how many goals do you have to score to forget who actually you did score on? So he just made me laugh. He's the greatest.
One of the greatest too is jumped on, and he's one of my favorite human beings ever, is Kelly Rudy. And Rudes was jumping on, and he actually wrote, I would have owned you back in your days, what he said about you. But the other thing that he asked for, no joking, your favorite memory about the reunion arena?
Oh, well,
And thanks, Rudes.
Yeah, no, hey, Kelly, I watch him. I'm a goalie aficionado, so like he's right in my wheelhouse of guys. But
we had to watch him in black and white, though. That was the difference. It wasn't the same.
Yeah, I'm with you. The whole time I thought his headband was like gray, but it was, it was actually blue. Yeah, finally I met him. I'm like, God, things blue. That's amazing. Reunion. You got to think of this. How about winning a Stanley Cup in an arena when there was no boxes, not one, no press box. They had this one little strip up there for the press, but our owner, Tom Hicks, sat in the crowd. All our top sponsors sat in the crowd. The best seats were either on the glass or 10th row, and there's no dehumidifier. So the cup was won that year on the 19th of June. I think the 19th of June in Dallas, Texas. That game was in Buffalo, but the game before, the 17th of June, it was 97 degrees outside. The ice was terrible, really suited our defenseman really well, other than Zubov. Sidor was good, and Chambers was all right, too.
You're saying Zubov was not great?
No, he was good. He was really good. Maybe the best player I ever played with. But anyway, reunion was so small and so loud. So my greatest memory was probably, watching Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals against Colorado. Mike Keane had a hat trick, maybe scored two. Deked out Patrick Wild's old teammate from the '93 Canadians. That building was rocking. That year, McNichols was still around, but reunion was really cool. It's a great experience for me, just to play, and I got to play it and watch the whole two cup runs happen there. So the whole thing was great, but that game against Colorado, we were down 3-2, came back, won at McNichols, came home and won it again, especially against Patrick, Forsberg, Sakic, like these guys. It was unbelievable.
That team was unbelievable. That team was unbelievable. Like, unbelievable. Like, the Western Conference for me is still back then. I still think today, I know a lot of it, because the rules have changed and there's a lot of talent in the East. The game's different when I watch the East versus the West. It is different, but just the way the game's played, West versus East, it is amazing. I want to keep with the beer, by the way. Kingsville Brewery. I'm on the Hef.
Hefeweizen, yeah. I switched.
You said I can say Hef.
Yeah, the Hef, because you're the Hef.
Smell?
So there's none of our beers. All our beers are from the German laws. 4 ingredients only. Super clean. That smell is like it's banana notes, which Derek, our brewmaster, thinks that's the proper way to make German Hef and a Belgian style one.
This is unbelievable. By the way, the stout is unbelievable. I've had them all, and I got some here with me, so I'm kind of. It's a couple of questions, but before you go anywhere, Jay Willis, is it in Kalamazoo anytime soon? DeRoche, sorry.
Yeah.
Cornwall anytime soon. Where is it anytime soon? When is it going to start spreading in Canada?
So so go to kingsvillebrewery.ca and you'll see we have a map on there. It shows you where we are currently. We'll go backwards. The Ontario people, it's starting to grow really well. We're just about to hit the machine. We're in 70 LCBOs, so kind of look around, beer stores, grocery stores. We could send it anywhere. All LCBOs will get it. Michigan, we're in the Detroit area, Ann Arbor, all the way up to Birmingham. Not much. We haven't really put any effort into that. That's coming. And then in Texas. So we are going to morph across Canada eventually as we hone our skills in Ontario. But we're really just getting rocking, and we've got great feedback. We got 5 drinkable beers. Yeah, that half is like that is world class. There's a one called Von Hepstefan, and which is a Belgian wheat beer. We've been compared to that. That's like saying Turco and Patrick Waugh in the same sentence. It doesn't. They're both goalies, right? We'll take it when you can get it. But our guys make a great beer, Soccer. That Heffa is dynamite. It won awards. It's going to win plenty more. And the most of the world drinks lagers. I'm drinking this Czech style lager. This is my favorite. We have our Light A lager, which is just won silver medal in Canada. Lager.
It says Canadian beer though,
because it is made in Canada.
It's good. That's why it's called Canadian beer. Is that your lager? I gotta get through this and get to the lager then.
Yeah. Well, let me. I'll wait for you. So we're coming. So all the fans Canadian out beer? There, man. Canadian beer.
So question. By the way, my buddy Two Pad Stacks is from the Maritimes, and I played with an event with him out east. After you, Rudy, he might be the 3rd best goalie on this Instagram right now. Okay.
Boy.
So, question. I got to give you some love. I actually, you know what? I did TV for Hockey Night, and we watched you play a ton. Probably before Carey Price today is, I think you back then. I think more. How everyone learns from goalies. Sorry, I watched the Masters. Let me rewind. I watch how everyone hits a golf ball today. They've all learned from watching Tiger Woods play, right? So, I think you're not that old, but a lot of young goalies, Marty Brodeur, yourself, I can't think of many other puck handlers at that era that were as good as you two. You know, Ronnie Hextall is before us. You know, and I'm not great with my history of puck handling goaltenders. I just remember those that stand out, and you were one of them. And that was the one thing that I remembered about you a ton. I didn't know about this, which is pretty impressive. In 2002, 2003, you had a 1.72 goals against average, which was at the time an NHL record. You know, it got passed eventually, but a 1.72. Yeah. You finished second in Vezina voting. Are you shitting me? You had a 1 point. This is the problem with the people that vote on all these stupid awards. It's media people that don't watch hockey. Like,
No. And before you yell at the media people, Vezina's voted on by the GMs. Yeah.
GMs. I know. But I'm just saying, I wasn't done my argument. I was going to get to. So the problem is everyone focuses on that. Like if I'm doing the Canadians, I watch the Canadians. And I'm telling you, when I do TV, I do a lot of 7 o'clock games and 10 o'clock games. Mm-hmm. I get the stats on those middle games. Nashville, St. Louis, Minnesota, even Calgary sometimes got lost in there, and they're Canadian. That middle time zone, it's not often people win a ton of awards out of there because those games kind of get missed. And I'm blaming myself, but I'm not blaming myself because I got fired a long time ago. So I blame the people that run that damn station A for firing me and not giving me this damn note. You had a 932 save percentage, which was number one in the league.
Not even close, by the way. Not that year anyway.
What's that?
The 932 wasn't even close.
What do you mean?
Like nobody was even close to the 932.
No, I know. No, I'm not done. I know. So, by the way, I was gonna get to that. I actually made a couple notes. It looks like I drew some chickens here, but okay. The Roger Crozier, is that what I'm saying? Crozier, right? Roger Crozier award. Let's give him to the goalie who has the best save percentage in the National Hockey League. It came in 1999. I think it only lasted till 2005, if I remember correctly. So it's only like a 7-year window. You're the only goalie during that span to win it twice, which is for the best save percentage. I used to do radio in Montreal back in the day, and my biggest pet peeve was you give I think goals against average is almost a team award. And my argument, this is just me, so you jump in at any time here. And I think save percentage is a goalie. And I think that sorry, I just dropped something. My argument was always the best save percentage is the guy making the best saves percentage per shot. So goals against a lot of time is the way if your team gives up, like it's a team thing. So you won it twice. And I go down who won the awards, and I had a hard time finding your name in any of the real awards, you know, the Vezina, the MVP, the whatever you want, the Jennings. In 05-06, you won 41 games.
Yeah.
Today, a starting goalie doesn't play 41 games. In 2009, this is my pet peeve, which I want to get on. It could be the beer. I got a head start. But in 2009, you played 24 games in a row. So I worked for RDS in Montreal, which is for English people, it's the French TSN. We cover a lot of the Montreal Canadiens a lot. And I'm a big fan of the Canadiens, but I'm honest. I'm proud to have played for them. And I just am not a fan. I'm a hockey fan. I'm not a team fan. So one of my pet peeves is why a goalie can't play back-to-back games. Why there's so many, and I am not the person to ask because I play 82 games. You play back-to-back. You played 24 in a row. Yeah. Why can't a goalie today play back-to-back games when they have a back-and-back, and why are they so monitored?
I think everybody's monitored. Why? They look at the numbers. They think that
Puck supporters said the Hef is getting him. Yes, I know it's getting me. That one went in a little quick. Go ahead.
The half's only 5%, guys. It's not getting to them.
I'm good. I'm good. I just got fired up.
The whiskey stout maybe 6.8% because it's deliciously aged. But
And
anyway,
I had one before that.
And we digress because it's so good.
Yeah.
I'm a little mystified, as you are. If the analytics suggest not one goalie in the world can win a game back to back, then who are we to argue the point? I don't know what my stats were specifically. I don't think they were terrible from back to backs. If you have two good goalies, I mean, yeah, of course, one night, next night. But I mean, these guys are in better shape than when I played. I hope. Maybe some aren't. I mean, I was in great shape. I worked my ass off. Summer training camp, all through the season, worked out because I knew come playoff time we could play probably 9 periods, and I kept that back in my mind all the time. So to go and play on a Friday night, not do anything all next day, and play Saturday night, like. If the coach ever asks me, I'm like, Dave Tippett, don't ask me. You know the answer. Yes, I can play. I'll tell you if I'm hurt. I'll tell you if it's like, hey, man, I need the night off. But no, you need me, you got me. And I still, there's clearly a rationale behind it. It's confusing to me.
Confusing to you?
Yeah.
I'm chugging beers in my basement. My buddy, Fred Plant from RDS, from Saint Cassette, the brilliant host, on Saint Cassette, texted as well, loves you as well. He's confused. We're all confused. I think Fred, I don't. Why can't a goal? I know. Taking control of everything.
Here's the theory. If these goalies can't play back to backs, and you need two goalies, then it takes away from you having to pay one guy $8 million because nobody's going to have the stats anymore. Nobody's going to have the games played. Who's going to dominate unless they go win the Stanley Cup or have a great playoff run, which is super hard to do anyway. So maybe they're just trying to get the goalie's price tag down.
Okay, Carey Price makes $10.5 million in Montreal.
I love him.
I love Carey. Carey is
he's the man.
He's great, but he's never won anything in the playoffs in Montreal. Like Carey's never, but he's got a 10.5 price tag on him, and I'm just arguing to argue when it comes to. If you're only going to play them 55 games a year, think of that.
You can't pay them that.
You can't pay them. You got to pay another goalie. Cap. So the other goalie who's playing, what is it, 27 games? If you want to pay him $1 million to keep your goalies at just under 12, don't be mad at that second goalie giving up goals because you're giving him $1 million. So that's my point. If you're able to, and back in that era where you're chugging beers and playing every day with everybody on your team, and we're all chugging beers, and you're winning, and everyone's able to compete the way they competed, I don't get it. Just throws me completely off. I love analytics, but I also hate analytics for those.
Yeah. So the problem ends up being now if you say, all right, I'll let my starter play, and then he loses, then the whole world's all over you. You're like.
By the way, star 27 plus 55. You can do it. 82. Keep going. Sorry. Just there's this guy trying to jump in and do math. I'm just helping him.
Yeah, beat it.
He's a buddy of mine that, he can't, if his shoes are off, anything.
Well,
hey, you can count to 11, that's it.
You had a big, I'm going to call it a soliloquy earlier there. You went from, you said some of my numbers. You said I was a puck-playing goalie. So when I had, I just want to, there's a few things that come to my mind. So in my 932 save percentage, I have the Roger Crozier trophies up here, which are now vintage.
Why did they stop giving that out, by the way?
I don't know. You know who there's a picture of? There's a picture of Dominic Hasek on there because he won the save percentage for like 9 years in a row or something stupid like that. There's an image of him. During
that time, you won it twice.
Yeah, I won it as my first year pro. I played 26 games. The minimum was 25.
25, yeah.
I won it. I had a I got to look at it. 25 would be my guess. And then when I had 932, it was the second highest one recorded ever. Hasek had won 937.
Who won the Hart that year?
Good one.
What year?
I was there, 2003. So I don't even know.
Is that Iginla?
Could have been.
No,
Yeah,
Iginla
2003.
because the playoffs, I think. I don't know. Anyways.
So I played 55 games that year. My record was 30, 10, and 10. We were still doing ties. I had.
Sorry, that's math. That's 55. Keep going.
I was doing. Well, there's games starting, but that's just the way it works. But literally, that was my record. So I had some that weren't on my record.
Sure.
Those are games that I started. I came in and had records afterwards because Ron Tugg, that was terrible. Love you, Tugger, but you just had it off here. And before, how about this at the breakfast? I won't even name names. I don't think I've ever told this story publicly.
Hold on. You know what? Take a sip. This is what I like to do. And blame it on the booze.
Did you know our pale ale is really sessionable at 40 IBUs and only at 6.5%? God, it's delicious. So at breakfast that morning, I'm with my family, run into this GM who's voting for the Vezina, and he tells me, he's like, I could probably mimic his voice. Hey, Marty, hell of a year, man. Hell of a year. You really, best goalie in the league. You deserve the Vezina. But I just got to let you know, Brodur's never won a Vezina. He deserves one, so we voted for him. Enjoy the show tonight. I was like, what the
I know. I'm serious? I've been around those guys. It's a lot of it's awful. I think all the awards should be like, I get so like, I thought it was great this year. By the way, 2003 was Peter Forsberg. Thanks, Michelle, I think, texted me that one. But I was gonna say, I just get so lost in some of those arguments about those awards, and I think it was great this year when it came up to the MVP of the league, who some of the votes were, and some of the guys decided to put it public.
Yeah,
and I like that. Everyone should see who everyone voted for.
No, I agree, because then you get chastised. So there's no politics involved. So the year, I think what a couple other
shutouts,
GMs.
By the way, 2007. Just a quick note: three shutouts in one series. Just another one.
And lost, by the way.
You lost. Yeah.
I argue I had 4 because the first game we went to overtime and we went to quadruple overtime and I lost. So I'm like, I had three periods with no goals against. That's a shutout. So I think I had 4. But I digress.
But no hard feelings.
No. It was an unbelievable series. That might have been the best I ever felt. The next year we went to the conference finals. Felt pretty good then too. But I remember Yzerman was the GM for Team Canada, and he called and I had like some allergies, and I took some allergy medicine. And I wasn't able to go for the World Championships that year, which would have been a lot of fun. But whatever, way to go.
Okay, I know. Okay, I'm gonna move on to college quickly. It's about like 10 minutes left. Favorite NHL memory?
And I got a few, but
no, it's like when I say favorite college memory or university, it's like one.
Oh no!
It's not like a few. It's like, what's your favorite one?
I thought you said pro.
Oh, sorry. Favorite pro. I can't make now. Now you're allowed to. You just bought a bogey.
Okay, so I'll say 2008. Brendan Morrow scores against the Sharks in quadruple overtime, second round to get us to the conference finals. The game was unbelievable. The building, the fans, the memories. Brendan was my best friend. He's my best friend. Like, just couldn't have scripted any better. College, man, oh man.
No, I'm not there yet. Okay. 2 NHL ones. I'm gonna go to college here in a second.
So then, honestly, my first game, man, we lost 5-2 in Carolina, but I was 23 years old playing my first. No, I was 25 years old playing my first NHL game ever, and Ron Francis was on the ice. Ronnie Franchise. And Ronnie was from Sault Ste. Marie, is from Sault Ste. Marie, so am I. I looked up to him my whole life. I got to skate against him before he retired. I think he had 2 or 3 points, and I couldn't care less because I'm like, man, I played a game in the NHL, which is crazy. Ron Francis is on the team. We happened to be in Carolina. The night before, we were in Toronto. I didn't play that game, and I played this one. Just an amazing memory for me. Arthur Zerbe was at the other end. I'm like, I got beat by R2D2 down there. Are you kidding me? Like
those pads.
But he was such a good dude, man. I love him.
I know. I forgot about great stories about him. Justin Wiggum says he was there. Okay. 2 national championships. Most wins ever by a goalie in NCAA. Like, that gets lost under all your other great stuff. Like, that's pretty cool when you think about it. And when you think about it, 127, that's not going to be passed for a long time. Like, that's give or take how many games you play a year. You have to have runs to get that many games a year in. And I mean,
I'll do the math for you really quick. Someone has to average 32, and the max.
That was math.
And the max
32.25 actually. Math is the only thing I can do.
Yeah. And you only play 45 games tops a year.
Max.
Going to the final game.
Yeah, have to go to the final again.
Hey, good luck. Yeah.
So as I said, it's like, but mind you, like I said, I love Wayne, and Wayne had some, like, you never know. Like, look at this year. They decided to change a lot of the rules to give extra playoff stats for these play-in games. So all these amazing playoff history records have been beaten this year because teams played an extra 8 games. But mind you, we can't complain because the Rocket Richard era, they maybe only played 8 games in the playoffs. You know, so it's all give or take what it is. Anyways, you witnessed the first lacrosse goal for Mike Legg. So which is kind of like, I don't know how guys get it on their sticks. like I don't get the whole. I've tried it a million gazillion. I don't get it.
So we used to try because Mike Legg would come in and do it, and he learned.
But how would he do it? It's simple. Like,
no,
I got a puck over there. It just
he would literally just get the toe of the stick, push it down, and then flip it. And then that was the way he did it. You have to get really low. Your hands got to be close to the ice, and you just would flip it, scoop it, and then do it. The guy was a wizard with his puck, even just stick handling and all that stuff. Mike wasn't an amazing skater and wasn't overly tenacious, but his skill, his skills were unbelievable. He did this thing an average every time he was on the ice, average 15 times. By the end of our careers in college, he'd come down the ice and warm up, and he just flick it while he's skating down him and warm up and skate around like he's playing lacrosse. I'm like, dude, you keep doing that, I'm going to beat the crap out of you because I don't know where that puck's coming from. You're going to hit me in the throw one time, and we got to go. And so, anyway, in the game, people kind of gets lost in it because near the Michigan goal, now it's on NHL 2K or NHL EA 20, like the Michigan goal is in the game. We were in the quarterfinals of the NCAA. We were getting our butts beat by Minnesota. We're in our arch rivals barn in Michigan State, and he's doing it. He does the last person off the ice every time he does it. That's the last thing he did. It wasn't like a fluke goal. These other guys that are now shoveling it, with these thin blades, getting underneath it, like in Carolina. They got super thin toes. That's why. Yeah. They just slide it underneath it like against you there. And
I don't know
stuff. But it was unreal game, and the coolest thing, you'll appreciate this. We got home back in Ann Arbor after the game on the way to a Final Four, and there was like this like glowing lights on our porch. Like there was a cold Killian Red keg of beer on ice sitting on our porch when we go back to our house. Billy McCall went up and hugged it. I swear to God, he went up and hugged this thing. Chris Fox, Dr. Fox, Matt Herr, Greg Malicki, our house, we're like, we made it because we're drinking Natty Light, in college. So this is like a Killian's Red. It's a high level, high octane beer. We deserved it. And then we called Mike Legg. We're like, buddy, you were in this one too. Come on over. Mox was MVP for the record of that one. But college was a blast. That was one moment. A couple wins, a lot of wins, dude. So I think my personal record, I had 28 losses. So I had 99 more wins than losses. So college was fun.
Ethan Finlayson, 207. Shout out from Sault Ste. Marie.
Sue.
So,
Yeah. Hi to everybody in the Sue.
it's Sault Ste. Marie, if I say it. You guys call it Sue. You guys just, it was amazing. What's the population there?
72, 75.
How many pro hockey players out of there? It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Anyways, it's nuts, honestly.
It is.
You know what's funny?
Keep talking.
Okay, so I became a Sault Ste. Marie Hall of Famer a number of years ago, and I remember walking up and walking off the podium, and I just kept thinking, I am really not even close to the best goaltender ever came from here. You know, hopefully I'm number 2. I mean, Tony Esposito, Phil Esposito. Yeah. Like, come on, you guys, you kidding me? The reason why I wore 35 is because of Tony. I go to Chicago, play for the Blackhawks. They say you can't wear 35. I'm like, they're like, are you disappointed? I'm like, no. The guy I wore it from is hanging in the rafters. I can't wear it because of him. I'm like, this is the unbelievable turn of events. Totally happy with it. Give me number 30. Who cares? I'm done with it.
Thanks for this, buddy.
No, thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
How much is left in that? I don't have the green one.
I got you don't have the pale ale?
No, I have the light 8. Actually, this is so Canadian, by the way.
It's light 8
lager.
That one's killing it for us, PJ. There's your 12 on the weekend because it's just as light as anything else, low calorie. That thing won second place in all of Canada for the light lager low cal. Even beat out Crack Canoe. How about that?
So this is what I'll do. I'm willing to drink it every week for you. That's what I'm willing to do.
You don't have to, but hey, thank you for having.
I'm willing to sacrifice myself for you. That's what I'm here to do for. So thank you.
Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everyone. By the way, Kingsville, you'll say this one more time. The
Hefeweizen.
Hefeweizen is up there. I also, another one, I love the stout. It's stout season right now. Try and hunt this down. If you're at the LCBO, you can probably hunt it down. Ask the LCBO. They can order it to wherever you guys are, and it's coming to different parts of Canada. But thanks for doing this, Marty.
Tuned.
Cheers.
BJ,
Cheers. By the way, thanks, buddy. Quick shout out, November 30th. I'm doing something with Alexis Despetit on the Jack Black Insta, honoring Movember and a lot of great things. So everyone, thanks again. And to Marty and the Brewskis, thanks, buddy. Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Cheers. BJ. See you, pal.